going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Good morning. Grab your coffee, chill, relax. As you can probably tell from the title and the thumbnail that this is about this cart back here. And I've probably gotten the most questions about that cart on YouTube, Instagram, all that. So I wanted to touch on this cart. I've seen what's in your bag, all that stuff from like Peter McKinnon, but I think I'm gonna call this what's on your cart, because this is what I take to most of my corporate shoots and all my, like, not just my corporate shoots, a lot of my other shoots as well. And I fit all this stuff on that cart and in my Jeep. So I'm gonna tell you guys how I do that. But anyways, we're gonna talk about all the equipment that I put on this cart and then I take with me to most of my jobs. So we'll go with this C-stand first. Obviously, this is mic. Another C-stand back there, another light stand. Two light stands. I have a rolling light stand and I use with an Aperture 120D on it. Probably gonna buy another Aperture 300 or maybe even 600 because I need a bigger light source. The bigger the light source, the better, as you hear. Two tripods, this one and the one I'm actually filming on. This larger, newer case, I wouldn't recommend getting it because it's soft and it breaks pretty easily. I put my stuff through hell and back, so I put two of these smaller light stands that I'll sometimes use as like a hair light, and then more lighting stuff in a tripod, things like that. And then I have this hard case right here that I really like. I put a lot of my random like mics, little lights, batteries, gaffer tape, random stuff like that. And then I have this Pelican case. That's just other lenses and stuff like that. Two sandbags, sound blanket, another light. And then I usually have, sometimes I bring a hazer. As you can tell at the beginning of the video, I was hazing everything. I love hazing everything. And then I have two cameras. And I think that's it. So I'm gonna talk to you guys about why I think this cart's so important and valuable. And also I'm gonna show you guys how I put everything on this cart and I put it into that Jeep. So I bought this cart about 2 years ago, and this is probably one of the best investments I've made. And the biggest reason people probably wouldn't even think about this is the production value that you bring on set. So when you pull up with a cart, people are gonna take you that much more serious. Like, oh, this guy, you know, he's got stuff together. Even if you don't, I mean, it looks like you know what you're doing. You pull up on one of these bad boys, you're rolling it around, you got C-stands coming out. Honestly, almost every time I pull up to a job and I'm rolling this up, people are like, okay, this guy means business, he has a cart. That's like one of the biggest things that they talk about and they mention. It's not the camera, it's not all that. And it's funny because a lot of times, I don't know if some of you guys are watching this that have a cart, they're like, they think it's all just camera gear. Like, this is literally almost all lighting gear and stands. Nothing else. Like, the two cameras you can see are on top, already built. Like, that's the only camera stuff you'll really see. I didn't even think about that when I bought it. I just wanted it for practical reasons because I'm a practical person. The biggest reason is the production value you bring, and honestly, it's kind of like the way you look, and people, especially clients, will know their money's in good hands. The downside of that is it's big, and if you don't have a van, it can be a pain, and I'll show you that later. The second thing I'll say is the practicality of it. Especially if if you live in a city where there's like a lot of buildings that you have to ride or roll around on, and you don't want to carry your stuff up and down stairs and up and down elevators. This thing is perfect. I've fit it in almost every elevator that I've used. It can be a little finicky. For the most part, it's perfect in any setting like that. Because I remember what I used to do is just have to carry all my stuff back up, down, and that becomes a pain and it wastes time, and you don't want to waste time. A third reason why this thing is so good is because when you're actually on set, this can be kind of like a station, like a workplace, like almost an office. You can even bring your laptop and work on top of it. It just becomes like a little hub for all your stuff. When I'm on set or I'm filming something, this becomes my office. Nobody really goes around it, and it's kind of understood that that's where I'm working. A fourth reason is, it's not even a reason that I can even say yet, but there's so many little attachments you can have on this thing. So the only attachment that I have on it right now is the C-stand attachment, because you'll need that for sure. And that's an extra like almost 300 bucks, but I think it's worth it. But you could also put like umbrellas on this, little side bins for gaffs, tape, stuff like that. There's a bunch of accessories that you can put on here that make this cart so much better. I haven't done that yet, but I mean, the possibilities for this thing are pretty endless. The only con that I would say, or there's two cons, and they're not really even cons. I mean, for anything that's worth having, it's gonna be, you know, a good amount of money. So this thing, when I bought it, was I think a little over $1,000 plus the C-stand holder that was like another 300 bucks. So I mean, you're looking at like 1,400 bucks, and it might have actually gone down. I'm gonna put the price and link everything below. And again, I didn't even touch on this, but I'm not getting sponsored by Filmtools. This is from Filmtools. I just love this thing. I get a lot of questions about it. So that's one thing, the price. If you want to be a filmmaker, you're gonna splurge on a bunch of equipment. It's not even splurging, it's stuff that you use. That's one thing. The second thing is, it can get, sometimes I'm like, should I even use a cart? Because putting it together, getting it set up, transporting it can take a little bit of a time, and it also gets pretty stuffy in my Jeep, as you'll see here in a second. This thing can be a pain, and if you don't know how to use it, it becomes more of a pain than an asset, in my opinion. But as you start using it more and more, and especially if you're having to walk long distances on set, this thing's perfect. So just, you're gonna have to play with that a little bit. And if you're not like a decently fit, strong person, this thing it'll whoop you. So you just gotta be careful with that. And I'm gonna show you kind of the tips and tricks that I use, but let's get into how I put everything on this cart, and then how I put everything from this cart into that Jeep and transport it to whatever location I'm going. All right, now all this stuff on this cart, let's go. First thing I normally do is throw this on there, just so I know this is the biggest thing. Then I'll throw this on top of here. All the stuff that I'm actually gonna use a lot, I put on top of here. Everything down here, I usually just take off and end up having to set up anyways. So this stuff up here usually stays up here. This stuff down there will all get taken off. Then I'll throw this right on here. These usually go in the front. This will go right there. Usually have a case for that, but it broke. I break a lot of stuff, and that's on me. I try to be gentle. I'm gonna show you how to put the C-stands back here, because this part's pretty interesting. I mean, interesting as much as you can say building a cart's interesting, but I'm gonna give you a tighter shot on this. If you don't know how to use C-stands, learn. If you don't have any, get some. They're also a game changer. Half the time I don't even know if I'm doing it right, because I've never actually been on a big set before. You can put 4 on here, but I only have 2. You can kind of stagger them. So you put one on one side, one on the other. Go on like that. And then you have these little pins right here to lock them in place. Pretty sweet. Sound blade can just go up here. That camera will go on top of here, and that tripod it's on goes in that case. So other than that, I mean, that's everything. It's pretty simple. I know I didn't show you guys how to build this thing. There's actually plenty of videos. If you do end up buying one of these, there's plenty of videos for that. I'm just showing you as a filmmaker how I go about using it. So they actually have these lock lever right here for the wheels, which is pretty helpful. Taking them off now. There we go. Push, pull. Now it gets pretty heavy when you put sandbags and a bunch of stuff on there, but look at that. Yeah. Pride and joy right here. Now I gotta take all this down, put it in that Jeep right there. I'm gonna show you how to break this thing down once you have everything off of it. So you have these 2 screws right here, little knobs, unscrew. You're gonna want these for later. Take this off. That's gonna fall down. This goes to the side for right now. You loosen up these on the side. This thing can get a little bit hard to take off. This is gonna go separately for right now. You put this back on top here. Make sure it's pretty snug. These 2 bungees. Throw them underneath. Wrap it around. Wrap it around. Got 2 bungees on there. Now it's ready to get packed up and go. You always want to put the cart in first, and you want to put the bottom in first. You'll see what I mean. And they give you a handle for it right here, but it can actually act as a like a little hand truck. But again, this thing's pretty heavy, so either you can, oh, about rolled my ankle, got them paper ankles. You can just muscle up, pick it up. That's what I do normally. But if you don't want to do that, you can kind of just put this top end like that, and then make sure it doesn't, if you have 2 people, this is probably better, but make sure they don't fall, just like that. Now this is, This is only a foolproof plan if you have a Jeep. And this is why I'm gonna get a van next. I know the dimensions of a Jeep. Good luck to everybody that doesn't have one. Then you wanna lock in these wheels. Make sure that this thing don't roll around, because if it does roll around, it'll mess your Jeep up or your car. Lock those in. That goes in first, and then we put everything else in around it. I suggest putting stuff underneath it. Light stuff go on top. If you ever work for a moving company, you know you want to pack the truck as much as you possibly can so things aren't sliding around. So usually I'll throw like this Pelican case behind it. It's got no space to move around. Then these sandbags will go in the front. The only pain that I usually find is having to put these stands in, because these will move around a lot. So you just gotta lay these on top. I don't even know, god dang. That'll move around unless you secure it. And then the cameras go up front with me. I'll show you what it looks like in the vehicle. So pretty packed. Sometimes I'll even put more stuff. Speaking of which, beautiful morning, guys, look at that. All right, y'all, that was everything I wanted to show you. All that's packed up, ready to go to the next job shoot. Maybe I can show you next video if you guys like this type of stuff. I can show you it in use. Let me know if you want to see that. But yeah, I mean, that was it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please, it goes a long way. You like, you sub, you comment, all that good stuff. Grows the channel, makes me want to do more stuff like this to help give back to the community. And I appreciate everybody so far. It's actually been pretty nice seeing some decent views, and I want to thank everybody so far that's been following along with the journey. I've been getting more and more views on my stuff and more subs, so it helps out a lot with creators like me who don't necessarily have too much time to put into this stuff. But the more feedback I get and the more engagement I get, it can justify stuff like this. So I appreciate everybody. I'll see you guys next time.